This story begins on a blank but peaceful night. I do enjoy playing some video games for the Xbox 360, but not by myself. Well, not anymore. I was walking down the street, looking at the pure black sky, with nothing on my mind but what to do. Then, when walking down the sidewalk halfway from the nearest pizza restaurant, there was a man who was wearing the longest jacket I have ever seen. I think it was a trench coat, but I'm not positive about that. When passing by the man, he stopped, looked at me, and said with the most hideous smile, also the most sinister type of voice I have ever encountered, "Do you like video games?" he asked me. And with no hesitation or regrets, I said, yes, with the thought that I might have something to do tonight. He then smiled and jumped around with glee. I then thought to myself, this guy is a total loon. He then stopped and gripped my shoulders, placing a white, clear game case in my left hand. Have a nice night, the man said while skipping down the sidewalk and everyone looking at him as if he were insanely crazy. Just insane, really. But knowing that I just got a free game, I was going to have something to do for the night. Yeah, it's a free game, so might as well take it, I guess. When I finally got home, I marched up the stairs, excited to see and play my new video game for the Xbox. I ran to my console and turned it on. I opened my disc tray and opened the game case, which was actually the video game Call of Duty World at War. I played this game before, but I wasn't too fond of it. But if it gave me something to do, I was in for it all the way. When putting the game in and starting it up, I noticed the opening intro song was not the same. In fact, it is not at all the same, alright? It sounded more like something from the Twilight Zone than anything. I thought that was very odd, but, it's the weekend, and I thought if I stop now, I will have nothing to do. So, finally, I got to the point where I just pressed the start button for the game. What else I got to do? Upon starting the game, I would select a local account for the Xbox console, and normally I would pick mine, but for some strange reason, it would not work. So I moved to the two other options that are my friends' accounts, Lane Irvin and Michael Border. I chose Michael's to get the game on the move and, get it going. When that was done, I was expecting the choices of either zombies or campaign, but all that came up was zombies. I used to own World at War, and that has never happened. But, I was too bored to give up. I could question if such a patch or some sort would have happened, but I got no time for that. Now, I decided to play. Everything was going smoothly for the first 5 rounds, and it was pretty fun. On round 4, I bought a door and got the magic box, which randomly, gives you a random gun, of course. I was very lucky to get my favorite gun, which was the ray gun. The ray gun shoots rays and kills with one shot, up to a certain point anyways. Anyway, on round 6, I bought the upstairs and ran into the back corner, as I normally would do. I was reloading my ray gun before the round started. A few moments later, out of the corner of my screen, I looked up to see the first zombie, coming really slow. But then I noticed that it was not a Nazi zombie, but my own 12-year-old sister, Brianna. I thought that was the most frightening thing I had ever seen, but then following her slowly came 5 more, who all look like they are my family. Out of fear, I dropped the controller. I then slowly began to think to myself, there must be a reasonable explanation for this. Quickly, without hesitation, I picked up my controller and shot the zombies that looked like my family. As they all fell one by one to the ground, I happened to notice that one more came out. This one gave me more cold chills than I've ever had to face in my life. Slowly creeping out of the dark, misty abyss that knocked the Untoden came the dark figure, limping toward me. The man who gave me the game. He was wearing the coat, the hideous smile. It was like he was a zombie in this game, but it just resembles him. The screen was covered in my ray gun beams as I fired again and again. But no matter how many times I shot him, he got closer by gripping my character's neck with his rotten teeth, pulling a giant, gory chunk out of him. The screen then went blank, and the Xbox screen light then turned into a red one. Ah, crap, the red ring of death. That's just what I need to ruin the weekend. The next day, I was smart enough to throw away the cursed game, the trash. When I went back into my house, I walked into the kitchen to see my family's blank faces as they were all depressed and hiding something. Immediately, I asked him, "What is the matter?" Slowly, my mom said, looking at me, "There was a bear attack out in Michael's woods, and, well, his neck was torn off by the bear." That is when I realized the character I was playing as Michael. The way he died in the game is the same way he died as my mother described, with his neck torn out in a brutal way. It has been at least 2 weeks since the bear attack, and since I ever have to play the game with its morbid gameplay, disturbing twists that I had to face, I feel that it is my fault that Michael is dead. I try not to think about it, but I can't help myself. I can't stop thinking about the pain he has to endure, the screams, or lack thereof. Every night, I think of how me, Lane, and Michael used to talk on how to survive a zombie apocalypse. I would always say that, "Yeah, I will live this zombie apocalypse stuff." But now, instead of thinking of it as a fact, I now state it as an opinion. If it took me long to kill video game versions of my dead family, how long would it take for me to kill them in real life if they were infected? Actually, I shouldn't be thinking about this at all. It's messing with my head to think that stuff. I asked myself the question if I would be able to do what is necessary, supposedly, if this were to occur. And I ask you, would you be able to do this if you were in the same situation?